As you can see by the graphic in front of you, Nuance Speech Attendant and Open Speech Attendant are already in end of life. Right now, we are in the sustaining support period, and pretty soon, the end of the timeline will be here and all support will cease. Nuance has demonstrated very clearly by the fact that they are exiting the speech attendant market that customers need more than a technology-only solution to achieve their performance goals. Parlance is the only viable long-term replacement for Nuance Speech Attendant products. Since 1996, we've offered speech recognition as a managed service. It's the only thing we do. Parlance provides not only industry-leading technology with the latest Nuance recognizer at its very core, but a team of tenured experts who make your system work, take ownership of day-to-day performance, and guarantee ROI. No complicated fees, no extra charges, and no long contracts required. At Parlance, you don't buy software, you subscribe to results. Parlance has a prestigious history of solving real-world problems through the science of sound and the power of voice. We have a legacy of innovation and accomplishment that has driven us forward for decades. Today, our commercial applications have one clear objective: help people simplify their lives through speech automation. It's a goal that has continuously guided our pioneering work to modernize caller experiences. So, welcome to the webinar. Nuance has discontinued their speech attendant, and we're here to talk about what's next. Everyone, this is Joseph Maxwell, and he is the Chief Executive Officer of Parlance. Welcome, Joseph. A little over 25 years ago, Parlance spun off from BBN Technologies. Tell me a little bit about that and some of the early clients that you launched with.
Parlance spun off from BBN Technologies about 25 years ago, and at the time, the solution that we were taking to market had been just a prototype to demonstrate the power of what was then some of the first recognizers that were able to do recognition in real time. We were able to put together a solution to demonstrate that you could say a name out of a large directory of names and be able to be transferred to that destination. And we brought that to market with some early customers that included the Boston Globe, the New York Times, MetLife, John Hancock. So Parlance service is a replacement for the Nuance Speech Attendant. And for anyone who is moving from Nuance Speech Attendant to the Parlance service, they should expect to have better performance than they've had in the past. One of the key reasons in Parlance being able to deliver on that better service is what we build around the speech engine to ensure that our performance is better than what you'd experience with just the speech engine and a directory plugged in by itself. And that is that service differentiation that actually takes responsibility for requests that someone might make for something that's not there. Our team looks at those, analyzes those over time, and then helps work with the customer to build out what's missing so that performance improves over time. And not just, again, in the first 30 days or 90 days, but years down the road, our team is still participating in that service, owning the performance of that solution, and ensuring that those callers are getting the best experience they can when they're calling into our solution.
Welcome, Sheila. Everyone, this is Sheila Kelly.
I'm the Director of Business Development for Parlance, and I've been with the company 8 years. I spend a lot of time working with customers and partners to help them with their call handling needs and really help them understand how our solutions align with their business needs.
Sheila, tell me how being a managed service differentiates Parlance from all other speech attendants and speech-enabled IVR products.
Well, Parlance really is the only offering on the market that includes a fully managed service for automated call routing using speech. It's one thing to deploy this technology, but it's another thing to manage it and tune it regularly. Even today, speech has come so far in the last 20 plus years. We can do much more for callers today than we could back then. But still, we need to be listening and understanding where the human and the technology pieces aren't coming together naturally so that we can make the service really work for all types of callers. The minute callers have a lack of faith in what you're doing, they will stop engaging with the service. We see this every day with old style phone trees that are like DTMF, push 1 for this, push 2 for that. Callers don't like those, so they don't use them, or they just die for the 0. The same is true with a speech offering if callers have failure with it repeatedly. They just stop trying and they refuse to engage. The key to our success was keeping eyes and ears on the performance of the service. We understood that most of our customers didn't have the bandwidth to do that all the time. And we do. And this is the only thing we do. So we do it really well. And we bring all the expertise from our customer base to every customer encounter we have. In the most lean of lean practices, we specialize, we do it very well, we iterate, and we create success across a broad network of partners.
When you buy Nuance, it functions on that day out of the box as good as it's ever going to function, right?
Parlance can achieve results that Nuance really can't achieve, and largely that's because of the way we deliver the service. We take responsibility for making sure it's working. We manage and tune and tweak the technology so that it really pivots to the need of callers, accommodates natural caller behavior, and then really works hard to build a database, a knowledge base that callers can ask for whatever they need. I think a real indicator of the difference between the core Nuance offering of Speech Attendant and the core offering of Parlance is that at Parlance, we learn about your business and then we guarantee performance results based on what we've learned. So we tell you up front, here's what we know we can do for you. And we will almost always do more, but we will guarantee you this. And then you can compare that against what you think you're going to get from Nuance or what historically you've been getting from Nuance. Another really important aspect and differentiator between Parlance and the Nuance offering is that at Parlance, we really work to get callers all the way through the call flow to a person. So a very typical scenario is that speech attendant answers the front door and transfers the caller to a large department where they are confronted by another IVR, very often one that doesn't accommodate speech. At Parlance, we like to have a short conversation with callers and get them directly to that resource inside that large department who's going to help them over the telephone with their need. And to the caller, it feels very quick and easy. And then operationally, it just has a big impact on the money you're wasting right now on, kind of micro navigating calls, pushing calls around between people inside departments. And it's included. Like, that's not typically included in Speech Attendant. So back in the day, when everybody was deploying speech, Nuance and Parlance included, the technology was much less robust than it is today. And really what most of our customers wanted was a speech-driven directory. It was all about automating the large enterprise contact directory. And quickly we understood that to differentiate ourselves back then in the 90s, we needed to build the tools and the expertise around creating these directories that are the source of truth for an organization, keeping them updated and keeping up with the huge variety of names and pronunciations that come into them. So today, the Parlance directory and the tools that we use are a reflection of literally 25 years of understanding where the data hides and resides inside large enterprises, how to get it, how to update it, and then how to make sure that it is usable to the average caller. We have a proprietary dictionary of proper names that nobody in the market, including Nuance, can begin to rival. And this augments the technology of Nuance that we use We build this around that Nuance platform so that what we're giving you is technology on steroids, but then also this service piece where we're making sure that it continues to work. Another important feature of Parlance's offering is the Web Tools application. This is where our users go to look at all of the data around all of the calls that Parlance interacts with. We use this data and these reports and this functionality of Web Tools all the time to stay on top of how our service is performing for our customers. But it's also available for our individual customers to go in and pull any of a wide variety of pre-formatted reports, as well as the ability to export virtually all that data to be used with other applications if that pertains to you. This is a great way to be looking at not only how successful Parlance is with routing the calls, but also what the call load looks like inside your enterprise. What are the patterns of calls coming in and where they're going? And for those areas that are getting just a huge number of calls, are we doing as much as we can do for callers? That's the kind of information that Parlance is always looking for, but you have the ability to look at it yourself as well as a customer. It's very exciting for us at Parlance when we show the impact of transforming that initial caller experience on the public front door of an organization. What was mediocre before is suddenly surpassing expectations. That's very exciting when you think about the number of phone calls these enterprises take.
Everyone, Mindy Garber is the Chief for Quality at Parlance, and she also works as a solutions engineer.
So I am one of the founding employees of Parlance, and before that I was with BBN Technologies and working in the speech recognition department.
Mindy, tell me about the process that we use here at Parlance that enables us to build successful telephony-based speech applications.
You have to go to the customer and really find out what application would be the most helpful for them. Where are you going to get the most bang for the buck in implementing speech and self-service? You know, where would automation help, and what are callers requesting? What are they looking for? We come up with a suggestion and a proposal of what would be the most helpful to implement self-serve. So you may think that this sounds complicated and time-consuming, but we've been doing this for 25 years, and we have it down to a process which lets us do this pretty quickly and efficiently. First to understand the problem, then to make recommendations, and then to implement it and get it up and running at the customer site. As a replacement for the Nuance Speech Attendant, I think we can exceed the results that they had. And the reason is that we have a managed service. We are listening to calls and making recommendations and editing things and making the application work better and better over time. Parlance takes responsibility for pretty much everything and making sure that it's successful.
Welcome, Scott. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar today.
Hi, I'm Scott Gomes. I manage the Customer Solutions Department and IT infrastructure here at Parlance. And my primary role within the organization is to make sure that we have in place every single thing necessary to deliver our solution to our customers in a quick, efficient, and easy manner. I have been with Parlance for nearly 20 years. Parlance is switch agnostic. We interface with all the major PBX vendors out there, including Avaya, Mitel, Cisco. All we require for connectivity is a SIP trunk from the PBX. And if your PBX is not able to support SIP, we can do digital implementations also. We have implementation documentation, we have support, and it's a pretty easy implementation for us.
Scott, how do we create directories from multiple data sources and different kinds of data sources?
As part of our implementation process, we work with you to collect as much data and as much accurate data as possible. We'll work with you to identify places where you have this information, such as your LDAP or Microsoft Active Directory, your Workday, or any other system that would contain the information we're looking for. Once we have identified all of these locations, we will use our Parlance tools to go ahead and make a comprehensive and authoritative directory for consumption within the product. Once we have the data sets identified and we have them implemented, we do work with our customers to make sure that we get that data in a minimal of a daily basis. And we use our internal tools and processes to make sure that we process the adds, changes, and drops on a nightly feed. So if you have a new employee that starts on Monday, they will be in the system.
How does this differentiate us from products like Nuance Speech Attendant and from other companies, for example, Xmedius, who claim to be comparable competitors to Parlance and are seeking to replace Nuance Speech Attendant for organizations who need support, given Nuance Speech Attendant is now at end of life?
That's a great question, Allie. We are the only people in the market that do this as a managed service. So you don't have to even think about it. We will take the data sources, we'll process the information, and we'll reach out to the customer when there's issues. No one else in the industry is doing that. That's what differentiates us from those other companies that you mentioned, because they'll sell you a product, but what we actually sell you is a solution. And that's what my team does, provide you that solution. The IT resources that are needed to deploy the Parlance solution are very, very small. You need a place to put the servers that we supply for you. You need to give us network connectivity to the systems so we can go ahead and manage the solution for you. And the IT department is usually involved in helping us get the data set to Parlance so we can go ahead and process that for consumption within the Parlance service units. The Parlance team supports new customers by designing and building applications for them and managing those applications. We manage the solution, we manage the performance, and we manage the exceptions. If there's any issues that come up when we are deploying or maintaining the product for you, we'll work with your team to make sure that we can resolve those as quickly as possible. This minimizes the amount of effort that IT has to devote in managing the solution.
Scott, is it easy and simple for IT teams to accomplish this, or is it time-consuming and difficult?
And we try very hard to make sure this is as easy as possible for a company's IT department to go ahead and implement.
Thank you so much. Everyone, this is Scott D'Entremont, and he is the Chief Revenue Officer at Parlance.
There are a couple of companies that are competing with us for the Nuance Speech Attendant replacement business. Nothing really noteworthy that truly competes with Parlance as a managed service. Historically, this has been delivered as a technology-only solution, and the business segment has really never developed, which is why Nuance is exiting. Whereas Parlance has dedicated our company around the idea of making it easier for callers to reach their destination, and have managed to have a very significant business over the past 25 years doing just that. So we really feel like we're the only long-term solution for this in the market. We have large enterprises, part of the Fortune 500, down to mid-market companies. We have hospitals and healthcare systems, as well as many, many different universities around the country. People have stayed with us for so long because they've been able to rely on us to provide the results in ROI that they're after.
At Parlance, you don't buy software, you subscribe to results.